Are you dreaming of your next summer vacation? What if your next getaway didn't just take you away, but brought you back to something real? When's the last time you took a trip that truly grounded you? Nestled in northwestern Alberta, the mighty Peace region is where rolling farmland meets boreal forest, where you can explore working farms, visit flower fields, and take in skies that are so big they'll stop you in your tracks. It's not just a destination, it's a place where agriculture, nature, and community come together in the most unforgettable way. Be picky. Choose experiences that connect, ground, and inspire. Head to the link in today's show notes and start planning your trip at mightypeace.com. That's mightypeace.com. Hi, I'm Katelyn Dubin, and this is the Rural Woman Podcast. I'm a first-generation farmer who married into agriculture. Born and raised in a city, I was so unfamiliar with where my food came from, but I was determined to figure it out. Through my journey into agriculture, I saw women who were strong but humble, often taking a back seat. To me, these women were leaders who deserved a seat at the table. I created the Rural Woman Podcast to share the voices of women in an industry whose stories often went untold. The rural entrepreneurs who live and breathe their work, full of grit and pride. We come here to share our stories, to be in community with each other, to be challenged and inspired, but most importantly, to be celebrated and to be heard. We may not all live, farm, ranch, or homestead the same, but we are all connected. We are rural women, and our stories are worthy of being told. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Rural Woman Podcast. Today you'll meet Michelle Gnam, greenhouse grower, flower farmer, and a community builder based in Fairview, Alberta. After 6 years in the oil and gas industry, Michelle followed her instincts back to her hometown in the mighty Peace region to build something beautiful, quite literally. From humble beginnings in her acreage garage to running a full-scale greenhouse and flower farm, Michelle has created a space that's not only Instagram-worthy, but deeply rooted in community, sustainability, and joy. In today's episode, you'll hear all about the blooms, the rhythm of Michelle's growing season, and what it's like to raise flowers and a business where the town melts into the countryside. We're also exploring what makes life in the Peace region so rich, from hidden gems to the beauty of small town living. This episode is brought to you in partnership with Mighty Peace Tourism, who are passionate about sharing the stories and the stunning scenery of northwestern Alberta. If Michelle's story has you dreaming of flower fields, fresh air, and farm fresh experiences, it might be time for you to start planning your own trip to the Mighty Peace region. You can head to the link in today's show notes to learn more at mightypeace.com. That's mightypeace.com. So pour yourself a cup of coffee and get ready to be inspired by a story that's full of growth, both in the greenhouse and beyond. Without further ado, my friends, let's get to this week's episode with Michelle. Michelle, welcome to the Rural Woman Podcast. How are you today?
I am awesome, thank you.
I am so excited to get to know you better and to share your story with my audience. I have done my deep dive into all things Michelle, and I'm so excited to learn more about you, your business, and the beautiful part of the country that you live in. So for the listeners who are unfamiliar with you, Michelle, give us your background, tell us who you are, where you're from, and how you are related to agriculture.
My name is Michelle Gnam. I grew up in Whitelaw, Alberta, which is in the northwestern part of Alberta. I grew up on a cattle farm, and I have always been involved in agriculture, working on the farm growing up. I love it here. I always wanted to return here. I never really knew it would be in agriculture until later in my life. I kind of steered clear of it for a while, but yeah, I'm back and I love it. And I guess I recognize all the wonderful things about agriculture more as an adult than I did as a kid.
For sure. I think most kids growing up on farms can have a piece of that in them. You don't appreciate it until maybe it's not part of your everyday life.
For sure.
Can you share with us maybe some of your favorite memories that you have from growing up on the cattle farm?
Oh, we had all kinds of fun on the cattle farm. The best days were probably when we were handling cows with my dad. He was hilarious. That's when we got to see all sides of him and all the colors, and it was intense. You were chasing cows, there was fence posts thrown and things happening, and it was just a lot of fun, and our whole family got involved, and it was a great time.
That's awesome. I'm sure you learned some choice language maybe during those busy times.
Oh, he had a pretty good filter.
Good. So you mentioned that, you didn't expect to be back in agriculture in the way that you are. You actually left the farm and started your career in oil and gas. So what brought you back to agriculture?
It was a combination of things. So I started my career in oil and gas after university. It was kind of like a way to get back north with the education I had got. And I really enjoyed it. But in 2014, my dad was in a farm accident. And so he was left quadriplegic. And so we spent a lot of time traveling back north, renovating and helping them transition to what life looked like after that. And more, I just felt that draw to be closer to home because we were by Grand Prairie, which was about an hour and a half away. So traveling was a lot. And then I had kids and I really struggled with being away from them and being in remote sites on a daily basis. When you get the daycare call that your kid is sick and you need to pick them up, it's a tricky thing with two parents in the oil field. So we had a small town greenhouse come up for sale in the fall just at the end of my second maternity leave. And I kind of took a deep dive into what greenhouse growing was all about. And it seemed so intriguing to me and amazing. And I couldn't believe that I had never really thought of it before because my mom always had an amazing garden growing up. And it was the secret garden. You walk through the lilacs and it was just beautiful and magical. So after I took a deep dive, we kind of went down that road and we didn't get to buy it. And I went back to work and I requested to go part-time and it didn't work out. So I kind of decided, well, if that's not going to work for me, I'll build my own career. So I continued to take a deep dive. I took the Floret online course about flower growing because from the get-go, I knew that I didn't want to just, not just greenhouse growing is all-encompassing, but I wanted a longer season. I wanted to keep going after June. I wanted to grow beautiful seasonal flowers all year long. And so I did a lot of training, bought some textbooks, and I started growing that spring in my garage. And quickly I learned what seeds you grow run out of room really quick when you have to transplant them. My husband built a greenhouse for me on that acreage. And yeah, I moved into that, sold flowers at the farmers market in Grand Prairie our first year before we decided we were really, I loved it. I caught the bug for growing and I wanted to do more of it. So we decided we wanted to do two things, move closer to home and back to Fairview area. And we wanted to build a greenhouse. So I took a dive into what that would look like.
I have the utmost respect for folks who find something that they're passionate about, go all in, and then encompass this afterwards and being like, how am I going to incorporate this into my whole life? How do I make this part of my whole life? And obviously the accident with your dad and wanting to be closer to him and be more with your children and all of those things, those are so many things that so many people right now are relating to. Talk to me about kind of your region and the growing region. You've mentioned Fairview and the Grand Prairie area, but for the folks who are listening who have no idea where that is, give us your description of where you live.
Okay, so I would say Fairview is a farming community, and it's like an hour or 100 kilometers north of Grand Prairie. And Grand Prairie is kind of a central hub for this northwestern part of the province. That's where lots of business is. There is a lot of oil and gas activity, and it's also a big farming and forestry community. So that's kind of this area, lots of resource development. And I would say Fairview is more of a farming hub, though. We do have some oil and gas as well, though.
Yeah, I've been to Fairview and I've been in the Fairview area for conferences before, and it's absolutely beautiful. I myself am from the south part of our province in Alberta, so our landscape is much different than the landscape near Fairview. I remember driving and wondering where all of the pivots were or any of the irrigation was. None of those things were around. So, but you do have a lot more trees than we do down here.
Yeah, lots of beautiful trees, lots of amazing thunderstorms and rain, right?
I was disappointed though when I was up there and driving, I didn't see a moose. That was what I wanted to see on my bucket list while I was driving. I didn't see one.
It's not the greatest thing to meet in your vehicle anyways.
That's, also what my husband said to me. He was like, it's nice you want to see one, but probably not on the highway.
Yeah, they're hard on things.
Talk to me about, you started in your garage and, have grown, I would say relatively quickly in the grand scheme of things. So talk to me about the first season of growing in your garage, selling at the farmer's market to where you guys are today.
It was kind of like a field of dreams concept where I felt like the first year in the farmers market was tough. It was I would say a bad year for the Grand Prairie Farmers Market. They were redoing the whole downtown. So it was tough to transport everything and sell there. And I felt like, if I build it, they'll come. The customers will come if I build this beautiful location. So that's where I started. And I put the deposit on our greenhouse, and then we didn't get really taken seriously that we were going to be building this in the fall. So I ordered it straight from Ontario, and I decided, okay, I'm building this myself. I'm off work. I can do this. I can build a greenhouse. And I wanted a gutter connect because of the high ceilings and the beautiful atmosphere. It's a little bit nicer to grow in because it doesn't get so hot so fast. I had natural ventilation, all the things. Wanted to be as green as I could in growing. And so that fall, we had our posts delivered. We barely got them in the ground before the ground froze solid in November. And I waited and waited for the weather to cooperate to build a greenhouse. And it didn't really come. So January 1st, at this point, I was, I think, 6 months pregnant with my third son. I didn't really have a choice. I encompassed the help of some of my husband's uncles and one of my dad's best friends. And we put together the Gutter Connect greenhouse. We worked on it from January until the end of February. It was a lot of cold work, but we got her done. And February 28th, I think, we pulled the plastic just in time for plants to come, I thought. But then we actually had a windstorm on March 1st that blew the roof right off the greenhouse. And that was hard. After a little cry, I got it together and I called in our insurance company and I called our greenhouse construction company, and everybody worked really hard to get the parts we needed to us all the way from Ontario, which is not a close place for shipping to northwestern Alberta. And yeah, we barely got it fixed. I had geraniums in the bathtub for 2 weeks while I needed my greenhouse plastic to go back on. And that first year, we grew a little bit of flowers and vegetables. I didn't have a really good perspective on the market yet. And I started my flower subscription, which was weekly flowers from June until the end of September. And we had a great first season. We gathered the data we needed for the next year. And from there, we've grown. We've figured out what our customers are looking for. I think for the most part, we're always trying to do better at that. And yeah, I've kind of nailed down what growing here looks like for the flower field as well. It's tricky. It doesn't, nothing will teach you in a textbook like life lessons, right?
Absolutely. And that's the perfect way to put it, especially when you're going into a new business of any sort. But when you're going into a business that there are so many things outside of your control, like the weather, it is the school of hard knocks when it comes to farming. Talk to us about your typical growing year. You obviously have the greenhouse that helps the year-round growing, but you also do flowers outside of your greenhouse too. So walk us through your typical growing year.
I don't think I could do the flower field without the greenhouse. They go really well together in this climate because we have a very short growing season. So on a typical year, I guess would start with calendar year, it would be January. January is basically spent planning, marketing, and starting a few seeds, receiving seeds, all those things. And then in February, we start seeding. We do a lot of the seeding for the greenhouse and the flower field in February. In March, we start to receive plants from young plant growers. And so that's mainly for the greenhouse. We don't plant in for the flower field. That's all started by us. And then it's kind of a whirlwind of transplanting, growing, keeping on top of insect management, and just getting the plants to the stage they need to be for our May 1st opening. May is very busy in getting plants out the door into their next homes. And also we plant the whole flower field in May, which is, that's a feat also. We grow the flower field in, the annuals are grown in landscape fabric. So I lay that down, have to get irrigation down. We do drip irrigation so that we don't lose so much to evaporation. And I transplant all the plugs that I started in the greenhouse, usually by the end of May, and direct seed all of our sunflowers. And then like yesterday, I just finished transplanting dahlias, and we start cutting at the start of June. So then we're cutting flowers, and the greenhouse slows down a lot in June. So it kind of is a nice transition for us. We do our weekly flower bouquets, and into July, we start with weddings, and we start our U-pick season in August. This summer, we are going to do our U-pick. So our U-pick season is going to start with open farm days. We're going to do farm tours on August 17th. And that actually transitions really well into Canadian Flowers Week, which is the following week. So we'll do some U-picks that week. And then the Summer's End Festival in Fairview, which we always like to put a parade float in. And we'll continue our U-picks until the end of September, when we usually get some frost. It's not a long season for us. I think September 16th is our average frost date, but my sunflowers are usually happy until October. And then end of September, we have to wrap up the whole flower field. I've kind of learned now that like whether there's frost or not, I need to pull everything out the week after Thanksgiving, because you can hold that warmth a little bit longer, but when winter decides to be here, it's here. And if you don't have things out, you're out of luck. So we pull everything out at the end of October, and we quickly, by we, I mean me, it's just me in the fall. And then we quickly get our tulips planted for the next season, because that's when we have our June tulips is October. And then I guess it starts in September, but then we're ordering for the next season, transitioning, planning, doing winter workshops into November and December. We do some locally grown greens. My cedar trees are taking a really long time to grow. So I do bring in some BC cedar for our winter workshops. And yeah, that's kind of how a year in the flower field and the greenhouse looks like for me.
That is a full year of flower farming for you. How do you decide each year what you are going to grow?
So for the flower field, I make notes weekly, like what is filling our bouquets, what's working, what's growing well here. There's lots of things that it's not warm enough here to grow. And some of those I try the next year in my greenhouse, because I do have the time, like the room over the summer, it's empty. But it's challenging to grow in there in the summer. It's hot. So it's kind of what I think is going to look beautiful. I plan my color palettes ahead of time so that the season colors are transitioning from spring and the light pinks and the light purples and pale colors. And we kind of get more vibrant as the season goes on. And yeah, I try and have like a kaleidoscope of colors in the field so that we can create different things and seasonal things at different times.
If you're dreaming of a getaway that feels grounded, something real, something that sticks, then it's time to be picky about where you go. In the Mighty Peace region of northwestern Alberta, agriculture isn't just a backdrop, it's the main event. You can milk a cow at sunrise, taste honey straight from the hive, or stroll through flower fields that stretch beneath those signature Peace Country skies. It's farm life, up close and personal, Perfect for curious kids, nature-loving adults, and anyone craving a break from the usual. This isn't a theme park version of country life. It's the real deal. You'll meet the farmers, hear the stories, learn where your food comes from, and along the way, maybe catch a rodeo, explore a farmer's market, or take part in harvest celebrations that feel like stepping into a living postcard. So go ahead, be picky. Choose the kind of adventure that feeds your soul and grows lifelong memories. Plan your visit today at mightypeace.com. That's mightypeace.com. Michelle, what have been some of the biggest growing pains that you have faced as a new farmer, a new flower farmer?
Having all these beautiful flowers in a cooler and no place for them to go is a growing pain. It's a beautiful growing pain, but you really need to market up front and get the word out and get your product out. And yeah, that's a tricky one.
Yeah, for sure. What have been some of your most successful adventures in the marketing space for your farm?
Social media is a game changer. If you are posting regularly and often and sharing your story and sharing what is blooming right now on your greenhouse or in the flower farm, it's night and day. If I post regularly for days on end, people will remember to come. They'll come and visit the greenhouse because it's beautiful and they want to be there. But if you get forgotten quickly, if you're not on top of it, and that's a tricky thing for me. I have a hard time with it.
Right. Well, essentially, you're doing everything for this business, from growing the flowers to doing the behind the scenes work of bookkeeping and being the professional marketer, which I think most farmers don't have that experience of professional marketing.
No, I don't think I'm not the greatest salesman, we'll say that. I'm the grower.
Right? But you are the grower, and you are producing something that's so beautiful for your community, and giving that to your community is so special.
Yeah, I'm lucky it's such a beautiful product that I just have to take pictures of it, and it's a pretty easy job to do.
Right?
Yeah.
Sells itself almost.
Yeah. Just got to click post.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite plants and flowers that you grow versus what are the ones that you really don't like to grow?
Okay, well, it's hard because it's like two things, right? So in the greenhouse, I really love petunias. They're beautiful and they love this area for a basket flower, right? And in the flower field, I absolutely love dahlias. They're beautiful, and I love sunflowers. And that it's hard in the flower field because I think that growing flowers locally and seasonally, it really makes you appreciate different things at different times. And that's what it's all about, right? Tulips are gorgeous in the spring, and then we have ranunculus, and then we have peonies, and then we have our field-grown Asiatic lilies, we have oriental lilies. Everything has its own place and its own beauty, and it's kind of amazing to watch it transition throughout the year. So I kind of have favorites on every season. Things I don't like to grow, I guess, are probably things that are hard for me, but I didn't like growing roses. They hurt. That's what I don't like to grow.
Right.
I think I still have a thorn in my finger because we have some roses in the greenhouse right now that we sell. And yeah, I have some thorns in my fingers from them still.
That's fair. That is a fair answer for that. Well, and like you said, when you're growing seasonally and locally, you really can appreciate what is able to grow and through what condition it's able to grow. And just to see the different stages of it, from, seeds, if you started it in your greenhouse, to all the way to somebody's wedding bouquet. Like, what a beautiful transition that is for somebody's special day. How has it been received in your community? What are the folks and visitors saying about visiting your farm?
I think it's been really well received. We have a fantastic community who likes to come and share the space. And we have people who just come and take pictures, people who come to our U-Picks and just buy a few flowers, but they just really love to come and enjoy either the greenhouse or the flower field. It's a nice place to be. It's warm. It's pollinator friendly. There's bees and things buzzing, and yeah, it's a wonderful place. And I think our community has really embraced it.
That's awesome. You had mentioned the workshops that you have in the winter season. What are some of the other events that you're hosting on the farm or that you're looking at hosting?
We do our U-Picks in the spring. We always do an Easter egg hunt at Easter for kids, and that's lots of fun. We do private workshops as well. And we do some flower wreath making in the fall with our dried flowers. That's basically the events that we host.
Those in itself are a lot of events to host. And I feel like farmers like myself who, we're on a grain farm, we're not looking at the agro-tourism aspect of agriculture, but it is huge and it is a big industry. And specifically in your region, there are a ton of opportunities to look into agro-tourism and to have people out on farms. What are some of the must-sees in your area when it comes to things to do and places to go?
Well, the Peace River Valley is beautiful and amazing. We have a riverboat and we spend lots of time in the valley. I love to go down to Dunvegan in the summer. It's a gorgeous provincial campsite, and we like to go down to the market gardens and get strawberries and have mini golf and ice cream. It's a beautiful place. Climb the hill, even though it freaks me out because it's kind of scary, but my kids like to climb it like billy goats. Yeah, I love that part of the Peace Country and the whole River Valley. We do camping up in many islands as well, which is kind of a little bit more of a remote campsite. There's quadding, there's Sandhills is beautiful in the area. There's so much to do and so much to see.
What has been kind of, when there are folks coming to your farm and they are from out of town, they're from out of the region, what are they telling you is their favorite part of Peace Country?
I think the community is probably their favorite thing. People are friendly. It's a beautiful place to be. There's big skies and long days, which I think is kind of unlike a lot of places. It's different than anywhere else. You can fit so much into a day because the days are so long.
Yeah, absolutely.
People are amazed with, I think, the Peace River. The Peace River Valley is a pretty amazing place. When you come down the hill, it's gorgeous. And then, we have beautiful farmland.
I think I was amazed that there was just so many things to do. And that is something, as somebody from Southern Alberta, when I think of things to do in Alberta, I think of Calgary and Edmonton. But, just a couple hours north of Edmonton, there is this hub of activity. Is there any hidden gems that you love, like local cafes or seasonal events that happen?
So I love the Old Bistro in Fairview. It's a beautiful little coffee shop, and it's beautiful outside too. They have tulips, they have amazing baskets, they have a windmill out front. It's such a little gem, and they have great coffee, which I love coffee. So it's one of my favorites. I love golfing. So we do lots of golfing in Fairview as well as Hines Creek. Hines Creek is more of a rural golf course, and it's a little bit smaller, but it's a real hidden gem. And the condition at the Fairview Golf Course is always amazing. And the Summer's End Festival. Oh, I love the Summer's End Festival in Fairview. The kids love it too. There's lots of fun things to do. They usually have bouncy castles, a car show. There's a parade. We put a parade float in. And then something we also do every year is there's a haunted forest in Fairview, and it's a lot of fun. The kids get really scared. There's lots of screaming. It's really cool.
For the spooky lovers, that would be a great activity. As somebody who is a big scaredy cat, I might skip that one. But the year-end festival sounds like one I would like to go to.
Yeah, it's fun. There's a street dance. It's a good time.
What do you think makes the Peace Country memorable for you?
For me, it's the big skies, the amazing wildlife, and just being able to go out and find adventure, whether you like ATVs or you like walking and hiking and all the things. There's so many places to see here, and it's so beautiful. And I really do love our long days and our amazing thunderstorms and all the things that go with Northern Alberta.
Absolutely. Very good. Obviously, winter is a real season that we have here in Canada and especially Northwest Alberta. So, what are some of the activities that you can do during the winter that make it maybe a bit more enjoyable?
Oh, curling. I love curling. It's been a family sport for a long time. I love curling. We have a great curling rink and it's competitive and you get together with friends. We also do lots of skiing. We have great ski hills around here. We have the Fairview ski hill that we love to visit and the Worsley ski hill, which is an amazing place. They have a chairlift even and the kids love it and they have good snow always. It's a great place. And then honestly, like we chase the kids around with hockey in the winter, which is good. It's community and it's great.
That's awesome. Well, and the Peace Country area is, when I think of it, I think of community and the time that I've gotten to spend there at the event that I was able to go to, just a warm feeling overall. And folks there really love where they live and it really shows.
Yeah, I think we have a good community.
Yes. What is next for you in the journey of flower farming?
Well, I did something different this year. I thought I should try and grow fall mums. So I have mums arriving on Friday. So they come as liners and then I'll grow them over the summer. So yeah, it's go big or go home with lots of crops. So we'll have 250 potted mums to sell in the fall, but I think it'll go nicely with the rest of the things we do. I would like to continue growing. We've already added on one greenhouse to our greenhouse, but in the next 2 years, I would like to build another and just have a little bit more space for all the things we would like to grow that we just don't quite have room for. And yeah, I want to continue with weddings. I really love doing wedding installations. I think they're my favorite thing. So more of that and yeah, just more of sharing my flowers. Sometimes I think that is probably my biggest weakness is like making sure the public can get them. I can't hoard all the beautiful things.
I'm sure it's very tempting to bring in the most beautiful blooms to display on your kitchen table versus giving them to anyone else. I know the feeling.
Yeah, it is. It's hard.
Michelle, what is the most rewarding part about being a rural woman and a farmer for you?
Being able to really see your work to something beautiful, whether it's a seed into a beautiful plant or all the flowers you cut into a beautiful bouquet. It's very rewarding to see that progress. Lots of what I do can be very digital, like we do, like the bookkeeping, and it's all very good and nice, but it's not very rewarding compared to seeing something you create be so beautiful and then also bring so much joy to someone else. Like flowers are amazing. They can remind you of someone, they can bring memories, and I really love being able to share that with people.
I love that. And flowers do bring memories, and certain smells, certain colors of flowers, anything like that can really strike good memories with people and create new memories with people that they will have for a lifetime. So I've always dreamt of being a flower farmer secretly, but I have heard many stories from many flower farmers, and I know the work that goes into it. And it is a lot of work. So I commend you and your family for starting this business and growing this business to where it is and providing such a beautiful space for your community. So congratulations on all of your success. And I wish you a very happy growing season and look forward to following your story along in the future.
Awesome. Thank you.
Michelle, for the folks who would like to connect with you after the show, where can they find you online?
They can find us on our website, www.grownorthgardens.com, or Facebook or Instagram at Grow North Gardens.
Perfect. And I will link those as well as all of the information to your beautiful, mighty Peace Country in the show notes. And people can find you, connect with you, and see what your beautiful area has to offer.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Rural Woman Podcast. The Rural Woman Podcast is more than just a podcast. We are a community. A huge thank you to the Rural Woman Podcast team, audio editor Max Hofer, special thanks to our Patreon executive producers, Sarah Riedner from Happiness by the Acre. To learn how you can become a Patreon executive producer or other ways to financially support the show, head on over to wildrosefarmer.com to learn more. Be sure to hit the follow or subscribe button wherever you listen to the podcast to get the latest episodes directly on your playlist. And if you are loving the show, please be sure to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or any other platform that accepts ratings and reviews. You can connect with us on social media at The Rural Woman Podcast and with me at Wild Rose Farmer. One of the best ways you can support the show is by sharing it. Send this episode to a friend or share on your social media. Let's strengthen and amplify the voices of women in agriculture together. Until next time, my friend, keep sharing your story.